Hello everyone, the players have spoken with sending a large laundry list of things that need to get changed inside Souls, and surprisingly, the devs did respond to this. Typically in a Habby game, when you go and send anything at all, whether it's negative, good, or a suggestion, you get thanks for your continued support. It doesn't even seem like they run it in the other games, but it looks like this one they are taking control of it. Now for me personally, after playing for 240 days, my perception on the game, and this is only perception, is that the game is focused around two things. Number one being the whales, which is one of the big things you see a lot of the events and items and things like that. All the money spent, that's what drives the game to do better. And then the other perception is that I believe that they're also trying to focus on getting new players. Obviously, they have a ton of downloads now, so it's easy to have people see it like, oh, that game's got a ton of downloads, I'll give it a try, and just keep those players excited and keep them engaged and hopefully have them spend money. Which leaves everybody else in the middle kind of as a, hey, we're just playing the game. Well, like I said, it is perception. The other thing I believe too, and once again, perception, is I believe that the Concrete team actually wants to do everything possible to make our gameplay enjoyable, make us happy on it. But I wonder if the higher Habby there is telling them, nope, this is what you got to do. This is what's going to make us money. I honestly don't know, but that's the way that my mind thinks. Either way, I'm still enjoying the game, and as a free-to-play game, it's actually pretty nice. Yeah, there's days I get bored with it, but then there's other days I really enjoy it and want to grind it. Now, as far as the whole letter here of everything that was suggested and the devs responding on it, now the devs did say at the very bottom, they are aware that they use the word consider a lot because they can't give a definite answer of saying, yes, we're going to do this or we're not going to do this. So that's their reason for saying consider, but it seems like there's a lot of things that were suggested that are great ideas that kind of got dodged or could be resolved with a simple fix. So they came right out of the bat saying that nobody's really playing Advanced Arena, redo it, give some different rewards. The PvP is very boring inside the game. And they did admit that, it has low engagement, but their response is we have guild battles coming out soon, which will make PvP so much better. And by the way, I am paraphrasing this, so read it on the screen. We'll have it on there too. But then they also say that the Challenger Arena is coming out, which will take it to another level. So number one, Challenger Arena is going to be the best of the Advanced Arena, which once again, targeting the people that have spent money. A lot of the players will probably not even see it, all in speculation, but they did kind of dodge the whole thing of what's going to happen with Advanced Arena. Guild battles come out, great. Challenge Arena comes out, it still really doesn't fix the issue going on with Advanced Arena. The next one is increase the cave levels and the sanctum levels, and this is one that I'm excited for myself, and they did say that they plan on doing this. Right now, Sanctum, I'm beating it all the way through, no problems. I really don't get too bored with it because I still actually really enjoy it. And same thing with Cave of Abyss. I will say though, I have had a lot of people commenting over the month of, hey, you should really put all your heroes in the front row to get that 2% extra attack. I've done the testing multiple times. I find it much more valuable and actually get an extra chest out of it by going and having everybody surround my decks, at least on Blader Zoltan there, and having my Lilith in the back. I seem to get higher numbers out of it there, and it just is working better. And not to mention Furnace of Dun hitting the whole front row. But like I said, I have tested it and I know about it, but I'm getting better results doing it the way that I'm doing. The next one is about the mimics there and allowing people multiple tries to give it a go there, and even making something like a practice room where you could test over and over to see how well you do. And they say, yeah, this is a good idea. Honestly, for me, you have it in every other game mode there is, besides Arena, where you can pause it and restart it. That's all we really need, and it doesn't really seem like it's a difficult thing to put in the game, seeing how it's everywhere else. Pretty much a copy potato. The next one is more about events there and saying make a more balanced summoning versus luck-based events. And they do come out and say that they plan on making more strategic events. How often do we go maybe 3 weeks without seeing a summoning one, and then next thing you know, there's 2 of them back to back. So it would be nice to kind of have one here, then one there, just flip-flop back and forth. Not to mention my RNG in those luck-based ones is complete trash and garbage. At least they have been in the past couple ones we've seen. And this is followed by saying introduce more summoning events, which would prevent people from hoarding them and camping out on them there, and kind of leave you more of a strategic way to say, do I want to use them on this event or that event? And the devs' response is pretty much, we will have more summoning events soon. The players also go on to say have an event that utilizes some of these lower tiered heroes so you get more chances of trying them, going up and having special bosses, or even kind of like a story mode, or, get 3 stars on this one, go to the next one. We've seen that in Snaker with going in, I forgot what it was called, but you'd pretty much go and utilize certain snakes and try to get the stars for doing those missions inside the game. And then the devs respond saying that they are already in the works on something like this, calling it the event dungeon. Don't know if that's going to fall in the guilds or if it's going to be an additional thing like trials that we saw in Snaker, or even something like in Survivor.io. The next category was balancing the resources and rewards, and that's where they start off saying fix the whole soul link thing versus rewards on that. If you don't know or haven't seen it, like I'm at about 390 right now. I think the last one I got was 380. And then you go and you get hit with a go and complete the Cave of Abyss 10 times. Go and do 10 summonings at a time. And then it will say something like complete chapter 28, -50. And you're like, man, I'm on chapter 34 already. Why am I worried about getting this for 28? And then there's maybe one more for collect some runes. And then next thing you know, it's get up to 400 to go and then face another one, which you're still going to be 5 chapters ahead of what that is. The players then go on to talk about enhancement stones and saying that we should be able to trade these in for something else. If you're not really familiar with what late game is, pretty much you can only upgrade your armor before you have everybody maxed out. I have maybe 20 or 30 heroes maxed out on gear, and eventually I'm going to run out of it, and then these things are just going to store up from doing the Cave of Abyss. And then you see the response here, pretty much we will consider doing something along these lines. Next, they talk about embers and saying that, hey, maybe throw them in the B shop. Let us purchase them that way. As I've said before, late game embers are incredibly difficult to come across, or at least get enough of them to level up your gear. That's why I say whenever you see one of them in the shop, buy it, because you're not really going to be seeing them too many other places. And the devs responded back and said, hey, we like this idea of putting them in the B shop. Now, the players did also say, too, that you need to increase the drop rate of these things because we just ain't getting them. So I don't think that was really mentioned, but we'll have to wait and see. Next was mentioning the runes themselves, and you're going and changing your option. You have that defense plus 10, and then it gets turned into a blue attack plus 4%. So the suggestion is give us a chance to say, do you want to keep this or take the new one? Seems pretty straightforward. I've seen it plenty of times in other games, so it'd be nice to see if they implement that one. The players then go through and say, hey, pretty much increase the artifact drop rates past level 10 and get rid of some of the crafting ones inside the rift too. So, we actually have a way to take these things to Mythic, and we pretty much got the response of, we know that it's tough getting these things and we're working on changing some stuff. I do like the fact that they say that they're putting things in events so players have a better chance of getting them. But I just think to myself of like every other event where, you get 20 completions and 20 rewards, and then the next 10 after those are where you see those legendary artifacts. So be curious to see how well that's going to actually get implemented. Once again, they're in this to make money, and that seems to be working for them so far. They recommended introducing a pity system when going and re-rolling your runes to try to get that divine stat. They say it's pretty difficult to do this, but we've seen it in every other game of going and saying, hey, you want that S grade piece of gear? Pull this 20 times. If you don't get it on the 20th, you get one of these here. I think this is incredibly easy to do based by looking how it's done in just about every single other game that they have. So I don't really know what's up with the devs' comment on that. Another thing that's hard to come across is the eggs inside the game for the engraving. So it was suggested to go and guarantee that we're going to get eggs at the end of the sanctum there. And their response was these new levels that will be coming out for the sanctum, which no idea when they will be coming out, will have some guaranteed egg drops in it. The next one I like, which is going and giving legendary or mythic gear when you complete a level of the dimensional rift. So you beat it all the way through, you get a legendary or mythic. You beat the next one all the way through, you get a legendary or mythic. I honestly don't see them ever giving a mythic away to us because I think from their standpoint, they say, well, we give these things away, nobody's going to spend money on the game. But they came out and said it's really difficult to do this when the achievements already been created. Well, I got an easy one for you here. This is a simple, easy fix. Make new achievements, add new achievements. You can still have the old ones. It's not that difficult to go and just pop a couple more in there. We would see this all the time with the other games. It seemed like throwing extra achievements out there was a nice way to kind of just fluff up the update of, oh yeah, hey, by the way, we got some extra achievements thrown in there too, on top of the GUI balancing and everything else of the bug fixes. So to me, that one feels like a hard no, and that they just don't want to do it. And then they go through to say, hey, give us a Dimensional Rift shop where we can go and buy stuff inside there related on how much we play a Dimensional Rift. I guess the question I have for you guys is, if they did give a Dimensional Rift shop, would that cause you to play it more than you're playing it right now? Because really, honestly, I'm not playing it. But they pretty much came out and said, hey, we'll consider it. We know there's issues with the artifacts. So to me, it kind of feels like they know the issue's already there. They already have a solution that they're going to try. So they're putting all these things just on a back burner. It was mentioned to go and increase the rewards we get from story chapters to kind of say, hey, I really want to push there. Right now, it's one of those things where the further you get into the game for chapters, they still seem to be kind of just copy, paste, repetitive type things. Yay, look at, we get another 10 summoning stones. So I do get this here. It would be nice to see a little bit more exciting stuff. Although I did finally reach another light dark hero chest recently, so that was kind of cool. But this definitely does need to get adjusted. The next section was more about the user interface and saying, hey, give us mimic data, go and give us formations, let us make it easier to find guilds, give us a calendar inside of thing. And the devs seem to be pretty supportive of all that of, hey, that sounds like some good ideas, because they're not really having to give anything away or change any rewards. That's all kind of data and calculations, things like that. The next section was a lot about guild stuff there of, hey, let us donate from one guild member to the other. You know, let's make guild stuff more exciting, maybe even a guild shop. And a lot of this was, hey, we got guild stuff coming from guild battles. We're going to have a guild raid on it. For me, I can think of every other game that had guilds. You had guild missions or even things like a guild event going on, which was just focused around you guys. So there's plenty of things to do with it, but it seems to sound like they're saying, hey, we're working on some guild stuff already, so let us take care of that first. In the last section here of quality life and transparency goes over some things like, hey, when we get to double, triple waves, let us save our army like we've done in other things. We don't have to keep on popping them out. And then they say, once we get to a certain chapter, just give us the 6x speed. You know, it's one of those things where they came through and said, well, we got it in the monthly pass. You know, if we give it to you later, people aren't going to buy this. Now, my solution to this is, you know, once you get to level 30 and say you have 6x speed, change the monthly pass for the players that have reached that point. Throw a Luminous Ancient Soul in there. That'd make me want to get it. You know, hey, I've already got the 6x speed. Now I finally get this other awesome reward that's sitting inside this monthly pass. It is $30 for the 6x speed, and that can be spent so many other ways in real life or buy something that's actually useful than spent on a video game. And then they go through to say, you know, hey, let's just get rid of this whole guild mimic currency thing. Let's just summon the mimics every day. Why do we got to go and build it up and do our daily missions on it? Just let us have these things to cast. Forget the timer on it. Just make it once a day, reset. We can cast these things. They also mentioned, let's go through and see probability of every single thing inside the game. For all the other games, we would actually have to go through, change the language to Korean or Chinese, and then we could see all the stats and probabilities and then use a, you know, Google Translate to go and say, hey, this is what it is. And I think by Google Play policies and stuff, if you have an app on that app store or the Google Play Store, you need to actually say what the probability is to get something for every single purchase inside the game. Don't hold me to that one, but every single other Habby game we played, that was always the thing that they brought up of, hey, we can't see this. This is against terms of service for Google. So I think really we should have it in there. And then lastly, they go through and say, hey, you know, let's get people on Discord, have a specific team of people that can gather information, kind of be the middleman between the players that are playing to the people that are creating the game. And let us just kind of narrow it down, find what people really want. Let's have some polls out there to make this game better. Now this is all great, and I'm glad that the devs took the time to respond back on this, but I do have a fear. Obviously, things take a long time to change inside the game from a developing standpoint, as far as I know. I'm not a developer, I don't know. But I fear that this might just be kind of one of those things that comes and goes and nothing's ever said about it, causing players to just leave the game. So whatever they end up doing, I hope they do something to change the thought process on it, because it does seem like a lot of people are stopped playing. I mean, we see it more and more every day, at least in my guild. Hey, I'm not going to play anymore. I'm just taking a break for a while. This game has been out for a while now, and you got to keep it fresh. You got to stay on top. You always got to try to level up and take it to the next level to keep people wanting to play this game. And I think this has a lot of great ideas in there to do so. Hopefully they just don't look at it as, hey, if we do this, geez, we might be losing money. So curious to know what you guys think about all this. Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to know the easiest way to get a 20-star benzo, take a look at this video right here. Thanks for watching, and remember, I pick my butt.